Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been quite a while since I filmed a video, but I'm so excited about this one. Before I get into this video's topic, I just wanted to mention that the last video I made about my budget binder, I mentioned that I was trying the month ahead budgeting method in which you use last month's pay to budget for the upcoming month. And so that's what I've been doing for the last year, and just PS, I love it. It's made budgeting so much easier for me because I'm actually budgeting with money I already have that covers all my expenses for the entire month. So please keep that in mind when you're watching this video. Another thing that I wanted to add is that finance is it's so personal. It's very personal. So what works for me or others, of course, may not work for you. You know, this financial journey also takes a very long time. So hopefully, you can find something that will help motivate you to stay focused and on target with your financial goals. So I'm hoping that this video will help. So just to get into the topic, to this video's topic, a while ago I was really pumped up about my budget and paying off my debt. And I was sitting down looking at my debt snowball and my budget. And I was thinking, man, you know what? I'm going to be getting an extra paycheck. So I get paid bi-weekly, and because I was doing the month ahead budgeting method, I realized that I might be able to pay off one of my debts a lot sooner than I thought, because I knew that that entire extra paycheck that I would receive would go all towards my financial goal. So I was so excited about it that I started writing down my budget several months ahead just to see if I really could do it. Once I started putting it in writing, using income I knew was going to come in. So this is just the minimum amount I knew was coming in. It didn't include any extra income that I wasn't sure I would receive. It was just my normal pay. So sure enough, I was actually able to see realistically how much extra money I would have to pay off my debt and how soon that debt could be paid off. So to get into how I budget, months ahead, I started with a regular sheet of paper, just like this one here, this yellow sheet. I also had my calendar that lists my pay days, so I have those highlighted here. And then also I have my important date sheet, which lists all the irregular items that come up during the year. So this would be, let's see, like I have a list here. So that would be like, vehicle registration, oil changes, vehicle maintenance, birthdays, holidays, medical, dental appointments, tax preparation, sewer payments, things that would affect my budget from month to month. And I just wanted to make sure that since I was doing this budgeting months ahead, I accounted for all those extra items in my budget. I also go into detail about the important dates sheet and my last video, my last budget binder video. So if you want to know more about that, please check it out. So on a sheet of paper, let's see if I can bring this into focus here a little bit. There we go. So on a sheet of paper, I started listing all my normal fixed and variable expenses, like on this example here. And so that would be like, my mortgage. Here I have rent on this example, your utilities, cell phones, gas, groceries, all of the normal, again, fixed and variable expenses that you have monthly. And then also at the top, I would list my expected take-home pay, again referring to the calendar that I have that highlights my pay periods for the month. And then below that, I would list my minimum debt payments. And so one other thing too that I wanted to mention is that when you're trying to budget, I've been doing my budget for so long that I pretty much have it down to a T regarding my expenses monthly. And so, you know, I'm pretty good at accounting those utilities that vary seasonally, like electricity, gas, and water. But if that's not something that you know of course, you could use you can refer to old bills, or you can go online to your utility company's website and see if you can get a history of payments that you made. So, on this example here, once I had my fixed and variable expenses listed, my debt listed, I would total that up. So, on the bottom here, I have my fixed variable expenses total, 2,000. Then I have the total of the debt payment here, which is the 500. So I have that total of monthly expenses. And then at the top is where you see that I had the my estimated take home pay. And so I just deducted the monthly expenses from my expected income for the month to get my amount that I would have remaining, so that $500 in this example is all going to debt repayment. And so on this other side here, I would list the debt or my savings goal, the outstanding balance, and then I would apply that extra debt payment here to give me an estimated remaining balance. And then I'd carry that over to the next month when I'm doing the next month budget. So I also, one thing I wanted to do is make sure that for me, the whole purpose of this budgeting month ahead is to make sure that I knew exactly what I would have left over my budget. So, you know, that was motivating in itself to see how much you would be able to, I could apply to, again, either my debt or my savings goal for the month. So I would use this template to budget for the upcoming months, making sure to account for the irregular expenses each month and making adjustments to those expense accounts. So another thing that you want to do is make sure that depending on the month that you're budgeting for, you either, you know, increase or decrease electricity. Like for me, here where I live, electricity goes up an insane amount. So you want to make sure that you account for that. And gas is another utility that tends to vary month to month. So just keep those in mind when you are budgeting months ahead. And sometimes what I would do is I would just start with the categories that I have without the amounts. I have a little calendar here that I got from Hobby Lobby for the whole entire year, and I would keep that in mind when I'm doing the budgets for the months, and then I would go back and then add the totals for those expenses later. So again, start with the categories, and then depending on when you're doing, like say for May's budget, then go in and then account for the amounts that you expect for that particular month. So a couple of things to keep in mind. You know, a budget is a plan. So when I did this, I started off with a financial goal and a time frame to reach that goal. So for me, my latest goal was paying off my car in a certain amount of time. So I had my statement balance and I knew when I wanted my car paid off by. So I had a goal to pay off a certain amount of money within a certain time frame. Number two, like the second thing that I kept in mind was I was realistic about my income and expense amounts. So as bad as I wanted to reach my financial goal that much sooner, I realized that I couldn't cut my expenses beyond reason. For me, I had to be realistic, and so I couldn't go from say $250 in groceries and household items per month to $75. For me, you know, again, I had to be reasonable for this to work. But at the same time, every month, I still looked to see if there were expenses that I could cut back on. So again, that's something very important when you're trying to do this month ahead, or even whenever you do your monthly budget. Be realistic and true to with your numbers. So just as a recap, if this is something that you want to try, you know, I would just start with a basic budget listing normal monthly fixed and variable expenses, and then minimum debt payments. And then at the top of it, I would list the like your take home pay for the month. And again, I use my calendar, which highlights my paychecks. And I'm, again, because I'm doing the month ahead method, so for the month of April, I would have to refer back to March's month to see how many paychecks I was going to be getting for that month. So that was really fun to be able to account to see where that extra payment that I was receiving on those months where I do get that extra payment, just to see how that would affect my my goal of paying off my debt. So also, I would go back and make sure that you are referring to your whatever worksheet you have that lists your irregular expenses. So again, for me, I refer to my important dates to make sure that I am accounting for all those expenses that usually just occur annually. And so that would give me, so once I have my fixed and variable expenses, again, my minimum debt amounts, I total that up to give me the monthly expense amounts. I deduct that from my expected income. That gives me my extra debt payment, which I then make sure that I apply to my debtor savings goal, which gives me an estimated remaining balance, and then I carry this over to the next month. So that's pretty much the basic template that I use. And again, I just continue to do this from month to month until I can see where my debtor saving goal has been met. So that gives me a good frame of reference to see how long it's going to take me to pay off my debt. So it takes a lot, realistically, this takes a lot of the guesswork out of trying to figure out what you would have left over to apply towards debt or your savings goal once you have it in writing. So to me, like, seeing it is actually believing it, that it could be done. So, I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. And if you get a chance, list below things that you've done to stay motivated and on target with your, reaching your financial goals. So I really appreciate you watching. And one other thing that I still do is that I still budget monthly, comparing my budgeted amounts to the actual amounts. And I use a budget worksheet. Actually, it's from the Budget Mom. This was also my last budget binder video. So I still use this for the, every month. But actually, when I'm budgeting months ahead, it tends to be like at least 6 months ahead of time, or even sometimes up to a year. So again, I hope you really enjoyed this video and at least got maybe something out of it. And again, thank you so much for watching. Bye.